Hello, so this will be on presenting and evaluating the impact of experiential learning in computing accessibility education. So the project team is Wei Shi, Yasmin El-Ghalayli, Sam Malakowski, Chi Yu, and myself, Dan Krutz, and we're all located at the Rochester Institute of Technology in the United States. And this project has been created with the support of the U.S. National Science Foundation. So approximately 15% of the world's population has a disability. Unfortunately, much of the software being created today is not accessible. Developers aren't motivated to create accessible software, and developers don't know how to create accessible software. So the goal of this project is to create easily adoptable educational accessibility material. This material will demonstrate foundational concepts in creating accessible software and also demonstrate the importance of creating accessible software. And complete project material is available on the website at all.rit.edu. So we'll talk about today is what are the accessibility learning labs, what are the goals of the labs, our experimental study design, our results, and a conclusion. So the accessibility learning labs are labs that are self-encapsulated and focus on educational accessibility material, and they require only a browser and internet connection for usage, so there's nothing for any adapter to install. Each lab focuses on a different accessibility focus, and these are hearing, vision, colorblindness, dexterity, and cognitive accessibility challenges. So each of the labs contains several components. These include background instructional material, the activity, empathy creating material, and a quiz. The labs can be used in a variety of areas, some of which are computing courses such as general and foundational computing, courses such as CS1 and CS2 courses, to more specialized courses in accessibility, and they can even be used in non-computing focused courses such as project management, and can be used in different outreach events and camps. So each lab begins with providing the user some foundational information on the accessibility topic being examined. And this material is provided in written and video format. After this, the participant is provided an experiential learning activity. So it begins with the participant interacting with the example software. So it could be a game or it could be a simple task that the user is asked to complete. Then after conducting this once, they interact with the software using an emulation component, so they experience the software as somebody with an accessibility issue would. They're provided information on how to repair this inaccessible software, and then they use the software again with the emulation feature still active, but this time with the accessibility fix in place, it's in a much more accessible fashion for the participant. So next we'll talk about a few of the research questions. So the research questions we used to evaluate our work included: how effective are the labs in motivating students about the importance of accessibility? How effective are the labs in informing students about foundational accessibility principles? And how impactful are empathy creating materials and accessibility education? So we evaluated our material in 10 sections of a CS2 course at RIT. And there were about 276 students in total in these 10 sections of the CS2 course. Most of the students, about 90%, were computer science students, software engineering students, or other computing-focused students, and about 10% were non-predominant computing majors. And there were 3 groups that were used in our study design. The first group was our control group, and these students used existing educational accessibility materials. Group B used our material without any empathy creating content, and Group C used our material with empathy creating content. So the study format included participants conducting a pre-lab survey. They conducted the activity. Group C interacted with empathy creating material. There was a concluding quiz and a post-lab survey to provide information for our analysis. So the first research question: how important is it for you to create accessible software? And we found that through a statistical analysis, our material was positive in impacting and motivating students about the importance of creating accessible software. The second research question was how effective are the labs in informing students about foundational accessibility principles? And a statistical analysis demonstrated that our material was effective in informing students about foundational accessibility principles. And the third research question was how impactful are empathy creating materials in accessibility education? And a t-test demonstrated that empathy creating material in experiential accessibility education was impactful, and it actually supported research questions 1 and 2 about how empathy creating material not only made students more interested in accessibility, but also helped inform them more about how to create accessible software. So there were some threats in future work, some of which included that our work was only evaluated using one of our created labs at our one institution. So we would like to evaluate more of our labs at partner schools. We only compared our work against one set of existing material, and this was educational material that was provided by Mozilla. And our labs contain an accessibility emulation feature, and it's not at all reasonable to expect that any emulation feature is perfect. So we are looking for folks to adopt our material and let us know how it goes, so our material can benefit classrooms and outreach events. And again, this is just to acknowledge that our work is supported by the U.S. National Science Foundation, and all material can be found at all.rit.edu. Thank you very much.